Mia Jones had always preferred numbers to people. As a security analyst for IT at Anderson Tech, she was meticulous, brilliant, and fiercely independent. She had built her life around staying in the shadows, avoiding unnecessary attention, and keeping things simple. But life had other plans. Mia was a striking woman with deep, velvety brown skin that glowed with an effortless radiance. Her full lips, often coated with a subtle nude gloss, framed her face perfectly, complementing her high cheekbones and almond-shaped hazel-brown eyes. Her body was curvaceous yet toned, her figure a testament to her quiet confidence. Her thick, coiled hair, styled in a halo of soft curls, cascaded elegantly down her back, framing her face in a way that accentuated her beauty. She rarely wore heavy makeup, preferring a simple touch of eyeliner and blush to highlight her natural features. It all started at Jamison Anderson's penthouse party, a lavish affair she had been reluctantly dragged to by her colleagues. Mia had no interest in the extravagance, but the promise of good food and a brief distraction from work was enough to convince her to attend. However, the weight of her relentless work schedule, the countless late nights spent safeguarding the company's cybersecurity, and the exhaustion of running on little to no sleep caught up with her. A low-grade fever had been simmering beneath her skin, but she ignored it, pushing herself as she always did. As the night progressed, she began feeling lightheaded. The room swayed, her vision blurred, and a crushing fatigue settled over her body. She struggled to steady herself, gripping the back of a chair for support. But before she could make it to the door, darkness consumed her. When Mia woke, she was disoriented, her throat dry, and her head pounding. The unfamiliar setting made her tense until she realized where she was, Jamison's penthouse. "You fainted," a deep voice rumbled beside her. Jamison Anderson, CEO of Anderson Tech, stood over her with a glass of water. "The doctor said you need rest. You're staying here until you recover." Mia groaned. "That's unnecessary. I'll be fine." Jamison's expression hardened. "You collapsed in the middle of my party. You're staying." There was no arguing with that tone. Despite her protests, Mia was forced to remain at his penthouse under his care. Mia's mother, Karen, was called. She was listed as Mia's emergency contact according to HR. Jamison wasted no time arranging for a car to pick her up from the airport. When Karen arrived, Mia was both relieved and happy to see her, but she was persistent in wanting to go home. Karen, however, had no intention of allowing that. She followed the doctor's orders to the letter, ensuring her daughter stayed put. Besides, Jamison had gone as far as to provide a private nurse and his personal chef to assist in Mia's recovery. Karen, ever the observant mother, quickly realized that Jamison's concern for Mia was far from professional courtesy. She noticed the way he lingered after work, leaving early to have dinner with them, and the effortless way he made her daughter laugh. This was a side of Jamison that Mia had never seen before, and she found herself shocked at how easy and natural their conversations became. They hardly talked at work beyond necessary matters, but here in the comfort of his home, he was warm, engaging, and, dare she admit it, charming. Karen was not blind to the way Jamison looked at her daughter. It was a look of genuine admiration, not just fleeting interest. One evening after dinner, she pulled Jamison aside in the quiet of the hallway. "What exactly are your intentions with my daughter?" Karen asked, her voice calm but firm. Jamison gave a nervous laugh, rubbing the back of his neck. "Right now, just a chance to know her. If she lets me. But she's so closed up." Karen studied him for a long moment before nodding. "She's been that way for years. But I'll help you, Jamison. Just don't hurt her." A rare, genuine smile crossed his face. "That's the last thing I want to do." However, their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. Debbie Lattimore, a member of the company's board and Jamison's former lover, watched with simmering jealousy. She had always hoped Jamison would step away from his work and find time for her, but now Mia had his attention. Unable to ignore his recent behavior, Debbie confronted Jamison directly in his office one evening. "You've been different lately," she stated coolly, arms crossed. "Leaving work early, spending time outside the company with her. Tell me, Jamison, what exactly is going on between you and Mia? Jamison leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. Nothing that concerns you, Debbie. She scoffed, narrowing her eyes. Don't lie to me. I know you better than that. Jamison sighed, running a hand through his hair. She's recovering. That's all. Debbie let out a dry laugh. You expect me to believe that? He gave her a pointed look. Believe what you want. But Debbie wasn't satisfied. If Jamison wouldn't give her an answer, she would find her own way to handle the situation. That night, she set her plan into motion, launching a smear campaign against Mia. Subtle whispers spread through the office. Emails suggesting favoritism were anonymously leaked. Rumors swirled about Mia using her charm and connections to manipulate Jamison. And worst of all, an article surfaced questioning her credentials, painting her as an opportunist, trying to climb the corporate ladder through seduction rather than skill. Mia, oblivious at first, began to notice the change in how people interacted with her. Colleagues who once spoke freely now whispered behind her back. Meetings felt colder. The air around her thickened with unspoken judgment. It wasn't until a senior executive subtly suggested she take a leave of absence that she realized something was terribly wrong. And when Jamison found out, he was furious. Things took a turn when an attempted cyber attack threatened Anderson Tech's servers. Jamison had no choice but to work closely with Mia, the only one capable of tracing the breach. The late nights, intense discussions, and problem-solving only deepened their connection. Despite what people thought, that Jamison was not backing away from Mia, she was simply the best at what she did, and there was no room for doubt when it came to protecting the company. One evening, after hours of dissecting lines of code, Mia finally sat back in exhaustion. I don't enjoy being in the spotlight, she admitted softly. Debbie's caused enough grief for me, and after we locate this attack, I'm considering taking a leave of absence. Jamison looked at her, his brows furrowing. You're thinking of leaving? Mia nodded. This has been exhausting, professionally and personally. I just need time to breathe. Jamison was silent for a moment before finally speaking. I don't want you to go. Mia glanced at him, surprised at the sincerity in his voice. Jamison? He exhaled and ran a hand through his hair. You're important to this company, but more than that, you're important to me. Mia swallowed, her heart pounding. She didn't know what to say. Before she could respond, the screen in front of them lit up with new activity. We found them, she whispered, her focus shifting. And just like that, the moment passed, but the feelings between them remained unresolved. As Mia and Jamison dug deeper into the attack, they uncovered something more sinister. A rival tech company had not only attempted to steal sensitive company data, but had also planted a virus designed to corrupt years of research and proprietary work. This wasn't just corporate espionage, it was an attempt to destroy Anderson Tech from the inside. However, one question remained. How did they gain access to the company's highly secure servers? Someone within Anderson Tech had to be feeding them information, acting as a mole. The breach had been too precise, too targeted for an outsider to do it alone. Mia's fingers flew across the keyboard, her eyes scanning the codes and logs. We need to find out who's helping them, she murmured, her voice tense. Jamison's jaw tightened. And when we do, they're going to regret ever betraying this company. During one night, as Mia scanned through lines of code, Jamison leaned against the desk, watching her intently. You're brilliant, he murmured. Mia scoffed. I'm just doing my job. You don't give yourself enough credit. She finally looked up, meeting his gaze. Something passed between them, unspoken but undeniable. Mia quickly looked away, refocusing on the screen. She wasn't here for romance. She just wanted to do her job and go back to her normal, quiet life. But normal was no longer an option. That evening, Karen sat with Mia, watching her closely. How do you feel about Jamison? She asked. And can you handle the rumors? Mia sighed, leaning back. I really like him, but I'm not about the lifestyle. The rumors will happen, especially to a black woman in corporate America. I didn't even know about Debbie and Jamison's history. If I had, I could have handled this problem better. Karen nodded thoughtfully. His past doesn't change the way he feels about you, Mia. You two need to talk. Mia shook her head. That's not happening. There's nothing to talk about. Karen reached for her hand. Mia, you deserve to be happy. Mia exhaled. I also deserve to live the life I choose. And Jamison's life is not for me. Determined to help her daughter find clarity, Karen talked Mia into attending the gala fundraiser for the youth outreach program. Wanting her to feel her best, Karen made arrangements for a professional hairstylist, a top-tier makeup artist, and found the perfect ball gown that would highlight Mia's stunning features. Whether Mia wanted to admit it or not, Karen knew this night could change everything. The annual company gala arrived, and Debbie saw it as the perfect opportunity to strike. In front of the entire company, she publicly revealed that Mia had hidden her true identity. She's not just Mia Jones, Debbie sneered. She's Lacey Ann Knowlton, the heir to the Knowlton fortune, one of the wealthiest real estate families in the country. She's been lying to all of us. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. Jamison turned to Mia, his face unreadable. Is this true? Mia's heart pounded. She had kept her identity a secret to escape the weight of her family name. She had wanted to carve her own path without the influence of her wealth. Yes, she admitted softly. But I never lied about my work. Everything I've done for the company is real. Jamison's expression hardened. And you never thought to tell me? I didn't want to be treated differently. Hurt flashed across his face, and Mia knew she had lost him. Humiliated, she resigned the next day. She packed her things, prepared to disappear just as she had before. But days later, as she walked through the front door of her family's estate, Jamison was there, waiting. Mia. She stiffened. What are you doing here? He took a step closer. I was angry. But not because you hid your identity. I was angry because I thought I'd lost you. Not because of your family power and wealth, but because of the life that I live. I want to parade you around for everyone to see. The woman I'm in love with, but I know you too well. A person that rather hide in the shadows. But I'm willing to step back from my lifestyle, if that means keeping you in my life. Mia's breath hitched. Jamison ran a hand through his hair. I don't care about your last name, your wealth, or anything else. I care about you, and I don't want to lose you. Tears pricked at Mia's eyes. I just wanted a simple life. He smiled slightly. Then we'll make it simple. But don't run away from me. She hesitated for only a second before stepping forward into his arms. And for the first time in her life, she stopped running. Mia says to Jamison, we have a lot to work out, but first we need to save your company. Then deal with this between us later. Jamison leans over and gives Mia a kiss and say, promise me to fight for us. I know you enjoys your life you have established, but we can make it work. I have so much of my past to unpack. It will be hard, but I promise not to give up so quickly. Mia returned to New York with Jamison. This time he makes it public before the board that he and Mia was a couple. Before now, they were just professional colleague. He stands behind her work, and Miss Jones will be helping to find the person responsible for the cyber attack against his company. Debbie, outraged, stormed out the room. Mia's fingers flew across the keyboard, her eyes scanning the codes and logs. Late one night, she noticed something unusual. An email that didn't match the patterns of normal daily correspondence. Her pulse quickened as she traced its origin. It had been sent to a night security guard who had only been employed for a few months. The concerning part? The email came from an executive office. She leaned back in her chair, exhaling sharply. Jamison, I think I found something. Early the next morning, Jamison called an emergency board meeting. With Mia standing beside him, she methodically explained when and how the cyber attack occurred. When a board member asked if she could identify who was behind it, Jamison slid a folder across the table. The evidence inside pointed directly to Debbie Lattimore. Consumed by jealousy and anger over Jamison choosing another woman over her, she had orchestrated the attack in a desperate attempt to destroy him and his company. The boardroom fell into stunned silence as Jamison slid the incriminating folder toward the board members, his voice steady even as his heart thundered. Mia's pulse raced with a mix of vindication and dread. The damning evidence painted a clear picture. Debbie Lattimore, fueled by jealousy and betrayal, had not only orchestrated the cyber attack, but had also set in motion a chain of events designed to upend both Jamison's company and Mia's fragile new world. In the moments after the meeting, as whispers of shock and disbelief filled the air, Jamison's eyes sought out Mia's. Later that evening, as twilight seeped into the penthouse and the city lights shimmered in the distance, Karen found Mia alone in a quiet sitting room. The air was thick with unspoken questions and heavy emotions. Karen's eyes, soft yet piercing with maternal concern, rested on her daughter. "Mia, sit with me," she said, her tone gentle but insistent. "We need to talk about all of this, the secrets, the betrayals, and what you truly want out of life." Mia hesitated, then sank into the plush sofa. "I'm so tired, Mom," she began, her voice barely a whisper. "I thought I could control everything by staying in the shadows, by never letting anyone know the real me. But now, I feel exposed, vulnerable, and so betrayed by everyone I trusted." Karen reached out, clasping her daughter's hand in a reassuring grip. "I know it hurts, Mia, but hiding your identity was never about protecting you. It was about denying yourself the chance to be truly seen and loved. You deserve honesty, even if it stings." Her eyes searched Mia's face, as if trying to peel away the layers of doubt and fear. "Jamison has his own demons, but you must ask yourself, do you want to continue living in the quiet shadows, or do you want to step into the light, even if that light reveals painful truths?" Mia's gaze fell to their intertwined hands. "I thought I wanted a simple life, free of complications. I thought that by keeping my identity hidden, I could avoid all the judgments, all the expectations. But now I see that I've been denying a part of who I am. I've been living a lie, not just to others, but to myself." Her voice grew steadier as she admitted, "I'm also angry at myself for not trusting him enough to ask for what I needed." Karen squeezed her hand, her tone imbued with a mix of firmness and tenderness. "Sometimes the hardest truth is realizing that honesty, even when it hurts, is the only way to truly heal. You need to decide what matters more, a life dictated by fear and secrecy, or a life where you embrace all that you are, even if that means facing heartache along the way." The conversation deepened as Karen recounted her own youthful struggles with identity and expectations, drawing parallels to Mia's current predicament. "There was a time when I felt torn between what the world expected of me and what I knew I needed in my heart," Karen confessed. "I lost myself in the roles assigned to me, a dutiful daughter, a supportive wife, until I finally realized that true strength comes from owning your truth, even if it means standing alone." Her words resonated with Mia, stirring a mix of sorrow, hope, and determination. "Don't let the weight of secrets crush you, let them free you." That night, Mia lay awake, the conversation with her mother echoing in her mind. She reflected on every moment, the rejection of her past identity, the silent longing for a life without pretense, and the painful admission of her love for Jamison. It was a love built on a foundation of half-truths and unspoken desires. Mia now wondered if their connection could survive the revelations and betrayals, or if it would crumble under the pressure of honesty. Meanwhile, Jamison found himself in a private study, surrounded by the quiet hum of the city. He stared at a framed photograph of himself with Mia, a memory of happier, simpler times. He recalled the moment when he had first seen the sparkle in her eyes during their late-night collaborations, a sparkle that spoke of passion and vulnerability, and realized that his inability to express his feelings had only deepened her isolation. Determined to set things right, Jamison reached out to Mia. "We need to talk," he texted, his message simple and heavy with meaning. She replied almost immediately, agreeing to meet at a quiet, secluded cafe not far from the penthouse. Over steaming cups of coffee in a softly lit corner, they finally laid bare the truth that had been festering between them. "I've been so afraid," Jamison began, his voice low. "Afraid that if I told you how I really felt, I'd lose everything. I was wrong to let that fear drive a wedge between us. His confession was accompanied by a sincerity that made Mia's heart ache with both longing and regret. But you must understand, I chose to hide who I was because I didn't want to be defined by my family's legacy. I wanted to be known for my own merits, not for the wealth I was born into. Their conversation stretched late into the night, each confession peeling away the layers of fear and misunderstanding that had accumulated over months of working together under false pretenses. As the dawn broke and the first light of day filtered through the cafe windows, they found themselves at a crossroads. There was no simple resolution, no quick fix to the wounds inflicted by secrecy and betrayal. But there was a renewed commitment to be honest, to be vulnerable, and to face whatever the future held together. The fallout with Debbie, however, continued to cast a dark shadow over their lives. In the aftermath of the board meeting, Debbie Lattimore's career crumbled as evidence of her treachery spread like wildfire. Her smug confidence was replaced by a desperate attempt to salvage what little remained of her influence. At first, she tried to manipulate the narrative, whispering accusations and insinuating that Mia's hidden identity had compromised the company's integrity. But the board's trust in Mia's skills, and in Jamison's now transparent leadership, proved too strong to overturn. Debbie's final act of defiance came when she tried to confront Mia in the empty corridors of Anderson Tech's headquarters. "You think you can just waltz in and steal everything?" she hissed, her voice a mix of fury and desperation. "You think you can erase me?" But Mia, standing tall and resolute, countered with a calm determination. "I'm not here to erase you, Debbie," she replied. "I'm here to protect this company and live my truth. Your jealousy and deceit have no place in my life." That confrontation marked the turning point in both their lives. Debbie was quietly escorted out of the building that same day, her influence irreparably tarnished. For Mia, it was a painful but necessary shedding of the past, a liberation from the chains of secrecy that had held her back for so long. In the weeks that followed, as Anderson Tech slowly rebuilt its reputation and the wounds of betrayal began to mend, Mia and Jamison worked together to strengthen their bond. Their relationship, now stripped of pretense, became a testament to the power of honesty and vulnerability. Mia's decision to return to work was met with cautious optimism. She was determined to redefine her identity on her own terms. With Jamison's unwavering support, she launched a series of initiatives to improve cybersecurity measures and foster a more inclusive work culture, one that celebrated authenticity over appearances. At a quiet moment one afternoon, Mia sat in her modest new office, a stark contrast to the penthouse grandeur of just months before, reflecting on the journey she had endured. The scars of past betrayals still ached, but they also served as a reminder of her strength. She recalled her mother's words, "You deserve to be happy," and recognized that true happiness would only come from embracing every part of herself, both the shadows and the light. Later that day, Karen paid Mia a surprise visit. The two sat together on a park bench overlooking a busy city street, the ambient hum of urban life a fitting backdrop to their intimate conversation. "Mia," Karen said softly, "I want you to know that it's okay to be conflicted. Loving someone who hides parts of themselves or who is afraid to reveal the truth is painful. But it's also human." Mia nodded, her eyes reflecting both sorrow and newfound resolve. "I'm learning that running away from who I truly am only leads to more loneliness." Karen smiled, pride and empathy mingling in her gaze. "Then take that first step, my dear. Step into the light, even if it means standing alone for a moment. In the end, you will find that the truth has a way of guiding you home." And so, with renewed determination, Mia embraced her truth. No longer willing to let fear dictate her life, she chose to honor the journey that had brought her here. In every line of code she wrote, every strategic meeting she led, and every quiet conversation with Jamison, she found strength in her authenticity. The past, marked by hidden identities, unspoken desires, and painful betrayals, had set the stage for a future defined by transparency, love, and resilience. Jamison knew that if he wanted to keep Mia in his life, he had to make changes, real, tangible changes that would respect her desire for privacy. He had spent years being a public figure, attending high-profile events, gracing magazine covers, and being scrutinized by the corporate world. But none of that mattered if it meant losing Mia. So he stepped back. He stopped attending unnecessary social gatherings, declining invitations to the high-profile galas and industry events that once defined his life. He made efforts to keep their relationship private, refusing to let the media dictate their story. When the press pried, he offered no comment. He even moved to a quieter residence, away from the penthouse, away from the cameras, choosing a place where Mia could truly feel at peace. At work, he ensured that their professional relationship was strictly business, refusing to let whispers of favoritism undermine Mia's hard-earned reputation. She was brilliant on her own, and he wanted the world to see that. One evening, as they sat on the small balcony of their new home, Mia looked at him, gratitude shining in her eyes. "You really did all this for me?" she asked softly. Jamison reached for her hand, pressing a gentle kiss to her palm. "I did this for us." The scars remained, a testament to the battles fought, but they no longer held her captive. With Jamison by her side and the unwavering support of her mother echoing in her heart, Mia stepped forward into a life that was as real as it was uncertain, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that truth, however painful, was the only path to lasting happiness. Hope you enjoyed this story by Green Tea Tales. Help our channel to grow by like, share, comments, and subscribe. Thank you.